put that back. Cool. Okay, so good morning and thank you very much for joining me on this horrible day. We are going to have a power hour on 11 Australia permanent colour. So if you've got any questions, please put those into the chat box and we shall begin. So 11 Australia permanent colour is sort of the newest part of our range. We had the liquid demi permanents back in 2020, and then we launched this back in September 2022. So this was very much a welcomed part of it and completed our range. So I'm going to be talking through the colour book. I've also got some slides as well that we can pull up as well. I think the first thing to sort of talk about is that this colour book, everything that you need to know is all in here. So if you get a little bit stuck of like, what's the mixing ratio? It's all on here. Your colour wheel, your tones and digi and everything. So we'll keep referring back to this page as we go along. But today we're going to be talking about different tones. We're going to be talking about white hair coverage. We're going to touch on that a little bit. We're going to be talking about peroxides as well. So if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about, please add it into the chat. But first of all, you'll see that in our book, I'm like fighting with it then, in our book you will see that it has all of the icons that are just along here. So I'm going to talk about those to start off with. So first of all of our packaging is recycled and recyclable. So the packaging itself, the tubes of colour have been made by recycled paper. These are aluminium recycled. Everything can go back into the recycling bin as well. So that's the first thing. Even the lid, the caps can. I know some different areas don't take them, but if you have a specialised company, maybe something like the Green Collective, they can do that for you as well. So we are resorcinol free. So resorcinol is fast becoming known as a skin irritant. It's always been a skin irritant, but we always blamed PPD for most of that. But it's not only the PPD that can cause irritation, it is also resorcinol. While that's sitting on the scalp, it can cause lots of irritation. So we've removed that, and we do hear that that is going to be coming out of all colours already. So one of the beauties of having a colour range that was made in 2022 is that you've got all the newest ingredients and the newest information that's available to us. So resorcinol, not in our colours at all. Silicone free. That's quite a big thing, especially with the curly market and talking about weighing the hair down. We don't have silicone. It's vegan. It's paraben free. It's gluten free, so we use a pea protein, not a wheat protein. And again, I think over the past few years, it's becoming more and more people are aware of different allergies that we've got. And it's really good to talk about all of these allergies that, you know, you can be wheat intolerant, you can be whatever. So it's good to sort of like talk about all these with your clients and to find that out and find a suitable colour that will work for them. So gluten-free, naturally derived ingredients, which I'm going to talk about a lot more detail, cruelty-free, got our bunny ears, and we are also PPD free. So there's lots of really sort of like good stuff in there. I'm just going to share my screen. And hopefully you can see that. Oops, not that one. Can you see, hopefully, my presentation? Hopefully you can. Would you give me a thumbs up if you can see that? Let me know. Okay, so I'm assuming you can see this. If not, please say. Let me, if there's anything in there. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Digi to start off with. So if you don't know about Digi, Digi is our virtual assistant. Now, it is a real person that is sitting behind Digi. It is a real hairdresser that you're talking to. So if you're in the salon, or if you're at home, or you have a burning question about that, you're thinking about a client and you're thinking about the formulations, or you're standing in the staff room and you're like, I don't know what to do, Digi is your answer. With Digi, you can go straight onto Facebook Messenger, and if you look for 11 Australia colour Digi, you'll be able to find that chat. And what the good thing is, it saves all of your chats in there, and they're really normally very quick at responding to you. So you could say, hey, I've got my client coming in. This is the picture of her. So you send a picture of her. She's looking to achieve a light golden blonde. She's sitting at a base 7. I'm thinking, what peroxide should I use? What tones? What should I do? And they can ask you lots of questions, and hopefully they'll get you to a place where you'll go, right, okay, great, I've got the answer. So that's how Digi works. It's a really great tool, and I really sort of like want to push you to sort of go, have a go. It is, just say hi to Digi and ask her a question. What's your formula for this? And they'll be able to help you. So that you can use that for our demi, permanent and lightness as well. Okay, moving on to the next one. So next thing I want to talk about, is that moved on? There we go, that's better. Is, I'm going backwards, not forwards. Oh, that's not good, is it? Sorry, I'm just gonna put that back up again. Technical problems. Right, okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. You think after all this time I would know how to use it, but clearly not. Right, share again. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to take you through the colour book. Right, to start off with, we're going to be talking about the colour chart itself. So you'll see everything in here is pretty self-explanatory, but I just want to talk through the different tones that we have within the colour book. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Do you know, you kind of think, Mondays, come on, work with me. There we go. It's finally waking up. Well, let me go on to big. Oh, wow. You know, today is obviously not going to be the day. Right, try again. Go on. Make that go big. Sorry, it's not going to make it go big. We'll just have to work with it. Right, so we've got natural tones to start off with. So you've got your 1O, 1N. So we've got numbers and letters on all of them. So you can, if you're into your numbers and you understand those, or your letters. Because we've got a demi and a permanent, liquid demi and permanent cream colour, I do tend to find that working with letters in demi works well for my brain, and then working in numbers for permanent seems to work for me, but that's just my tip for you. So we've got our naturals, which are the 1O, 1N, and we've also got double N's. Now here's the interesting thing about, when do you use a N and when do you use a double N or a double O? When do you do this? So I've always sort of talked about, the best way to do it is think about the diameter of the hair. So you've got fine hair, medium hair, and thick coarse hair. So on fine hair, the diameter of the hair is a lot finer. obviously. And in medium hair, it's a little bit wider, and then in thicker, coarser hair, it's a lot wider. So when you put the pigments into the hair can look a little bit darker if you've put too much pigment in the hair. So for instance, if you've got fine hair like myself, and you put a double N into my fine hair, what you'll find is that the double N will make my hair look quite dark and dense, because the pigments are all packed into this tiny little bit of hair, into this thin diameter. Whereas on thicker, coarser hair, the pigments can spread themselves out a little bit more. I hope that makes sense to you. So thinking about the diameter of where those pigments sit. So your normal ends have, let's say, 100 pigments. That's a complete lie, but they have maybe 100 pigments in there, whereas your thicker, coarser hair maybe has 500 pigments in there. So if you think about packing those 500 pigments into the finer type of hair, that will then make the hair look quite dark and flat because you've put too much pigment into the hair. So that's my best tip about when and how to use it. Think about the diameter of the hair. So you might have someone that's got sort of like thick, coarse hair that does tend to be more resistant because they've got more cuticle layers on their hair. When the hair loses the melanin, it tends, and it's got thicker, coarser hair, you've got more cuticle layers to go through. So that's why we find that using the double ends works really well, because that can sort of like travel into the cortex and pack that wider area with more pigments. I hope that makes sense for you. So that's how and when you would use the ends versus the double ends. And then you've got your ashes that are all in here. So all of these like pop out, really easy to sort of offer up to the hair. So you can sort of like look at the different depths that are in the hair. So you've got your A's, your ones, and your double ones, your double A's. Then moving on to the other side, this is my favorite sort of part of the chart. This is where all the beautiful sands and coppers are, and our coppers are really, really stand out, I have to say. So you've got your 3 2s, so your gold and violets. So your first number, so if you see something that's got like a GV, for instance, it's got 2 letters on there. Your G's as a gold, and that's 75% of your tone, and the next one is only 25%. That's a rough guide for you. It doesn't always work out 75. It might be 71 and yeah, 29 for the other one, but it's about 75% of the tone. So if you're looking at a GA, for instance, a G would be a gold and an A would be an ash. So what you're creating with using a GA is more of a softer, muted gold rather than a stronger gold. So that's how these are pre-mixed for you. So that's how you can kind of get your head around it. So it's always really interesting to think about the tones that you're putting into the hair and what they're actually going to do together. So that muted, the golden, the CG, the gold, copper golds, even, I'll get my words out, copper golds, they will just soften off that gold a little bit. So you'll just kind of, sorry, that will just soften off the copper a little bit in there. So it won't be such a bright copper. So I hope that helps on just understanding where they sit. And then we've got our mahogany golds, our mahogany reds, and our reds. Then moving down, we've got our intensifiers in here. So all of this can be used together. You can mix all of these together. The only rule that we do have here is with our intensifiers, with our high lifts. So our ultra blonde high lift, not to be mixed with anything else in the colour book. That is just to be used on its own. Now we've tested things and we've had a little bit of a play, and we've sort of like put, what happens if I put a dot of the violet into here? I've tested it on a swatch, it doesn't work. The manufacturer's instructions are correct, but we're hairdressers, we like to sort of like tweak things a little bit. It just made it go really dark and murky. So they are really nice and strong. So you've got your 11N, AV, VN, VA, GA. And if you're not into your high lifts, or you're somebody that's sort of like, oh, I've never used them, they always go bright orange, or I've had a nightmare when I've used them before, I would really, really have another go with these because they are beautiful. We've been using them doing seamless foils, so we're getting like a softer regrowth. My hair is high lift, I've got no bleach on my hair, so I'm a natural base 7. I lift up using the VA, the Violet Ash, with 40 volt on the scalp, and then I use a toner just to sort of I like to just put like a little bit of a root tap on it in the winter, so I've just used the Liquid Demi just to root tap that out a little bit, just to make it sort of like a bit softer. But they are beautiful, you know, it's a really gorgeous color. I haven't had bleach on my hair, lightener on my hair, for well over 2 years now, so this is all high lift. So definitely, if you haven't used these before, find the right model. They do work from a level 6, but you are exposing a lot of undercoat. So when you're exposing undercoat, you're exposing warmth. So pick the right client for it to have a little bit of a test with. A base 8 and above, just to try them out, you will get the most insane results with this. On the scalp in foils, you will absolutely love it. You can use it with both 30 and 40 volt to get maximum tonal lift. You can use the 30 volt. So if you use 30 volt, you're going to get more shift in your tone, whereas if you use 40 volt, you're going to get more lightness. So 30 volt, so let's say your base are sitting on a base 8 and you know that you're going to get to a 10 anyway. What you can do is use 30 volt, and that will get rid of the most warmth in the hair. Whereas if you need the extra lift, I would go with 40 volt. I go with both, so I go 40 volt with it. But yeah, you will really, really like this. It's really a beautiful colors if you've not used them before. Right, moving on to your colour wheel. So everything that we talk about, we refer back to the colour wheel on this. You've got all of your primary and secondary tones that are shown on here, and also where they all sit. So the interesting part about this, where your ends sit, is right in the middle here. So your ends have got equal amounts of red, yellow and blue pigments, but it has a slight grey undertone to it. So your naturals, they will be true to tone. What that actually means is if you're popping that onto 100% white hair, and you put a base 8 on it, you will get that base 8. It won't be a green base 8, it won't be a cool base 8, it's a neutral base 8. Okay, so they sit right in the middle. To allow us to sit right in the middle, they would have used equal amounts of red, yellow and blue to create that. Then you've got your intensifiers that just sit around here. So the interesting part about the colour wheel is the closer to the center, it has stronger pigments to it. As it works out, you'll get less pigments in the hair. So if you look here, we've got the VA. So Violet Ash, it's a lot more of a softer tone. Whereas your RR, which is the 6RR, which is the bright red, that's sitting really quite close to the center of the wheel. So when you look at the wheel, you can not only you can see where they sit in the different tones, you can also see how far they sit close to the center. So the closer to the center, the more tone, the more stronger the tone will be. The further out, the less tone there is, and it's more softer. So you'll see around the outsides, like the AVs, you've got the golden coppers in there as well. So hope that makes sense to you. And as I said before, you've got all of the tones, whether you're numbers or letters, they all sit in there. So the first tone is your the depth, so how light and dark it is. So it's a base 7, 8, 9, 10. That sits there. After the point comes your different tonal directions. So as I said before, roughly round about 75% is your first tone, and then 25% for your second. In here, you've also got your mixing ratios. We do have a really good staff room poster. If you've not got one, speak to your account manager and they can arrange to get that delivered for you. It has all of this information that I'm talking about in a nice big staff room poster that you can put on the wall, and you can gaze at it and hope that you can find your answer on there. So mixing ratios. Your standard colouring mixing ratios is 1:1, so really nice and simple. Your developer of choice, it doesn't change on the timings. It's 35 minutes development, so that's for your standard colouring. So if you were putting a 6RR, perhaps on a base 6, it is going to be 35 minutes. Okay, the next one is for white hair, sort of maximum coverage. And then the mixing ratio is still exactly the same, but you would leave that for 45 minutes. The reason for that is just to allow the colour to get further into the hair. So as I said before, white hair does tend to have more cuticle layers on it, so it takes more time to allow the colour to go through, travel into the cortex and do what it's supposed to do. So there's no heat with any of these. You don't need to put heat on there. The colour molecules are small enough to be able to get into the hair without having to put heat on it. And then if you wanted to add intensifiers into there, you can use up to 10 centimeters of intensifier per 60 ml of color. So that's up to. So if you put 60 ml of color into your bowl and you wanted to put like the brightest copper possible, you was using 8.44, which is the 8cc, you could put in 10 centimeters of your orange intensifier. So you don't have to put 10, you could put 1, you could put 2, so you customize that how you want to do that. But up to 10 centimeters per 60 ml of colour. And then the final part on here is your high lift, your ultra blonde high lift. So your mixing ratio for this is 1:2, and that is to get more ammonia into the hair to do that lifting that I talked about. So the reason why you can't mix a high lift and a standard colour is because they have different ammonia content. So these high lifts are higher ammonia, whereas the standard ones are less. So it doesn't work if you try and mix those two together. Hence why when we played about with it and we tested the put in the intensifiers in, it didn't work. Okay, so that's those there. Right, I'm hoping my laptop has sorted itself out now and it will allow me to do what I want it to do. You are sharing this screen. Lovely, thank you. Will it let me go big? No. Oh well. Okay, so I've just gone through all those colours. Now on each box, you will see that they have different colours on the ends. So it allows you to be able to see the different tones that we've got in there. So I think this is really nice and simple, and it looks beautiful when it's all lined up as well. So you've got all those different end caps for the different colours that you've got. So you kind of, your brain will start to see some of those as well. Right. Moving on to our developers. Now, our developers have also got all of the beautiful ingredients in there, but they do work together. So they work harmoniously together. So they've got the gluten-free, they're vegan, the paraben-free, the got all those, you know, the sulfate free as well within here, naturally derived ingredients. So lots and lots of really good stuff that's in there. The job for these, and I'm going to go on to what developer you'd use for what hair color in just a second. But they've got a really beautiful creamy consistency, and it really does work together lovely. So we have 4 different developers, so we have 3%. So you would use 3% when you are mainly doing tone on tone colouring. So for instance, if you were on the same level of darkness and you just wanted to put tone into the hair, that would be the perfect one for that. If you were going darker as well, that would make it, no, it's done now. It's finally made its mind up. If you're going darker as well, you would use 3%. So on the same level, if you just add in tone into the hair, so if you're sitting on the base 8 and you wanted to put an 8G into the hair, you could use 3%, no white. Now, white hair, we do use 6%. So that's the first rule. So if you just want to add tone into the hair is 3%, or going darker, 3%. 6% with your white hair coverage and white hair blending, and lightening. Okay, so this will give you 1 to 2 levels of lift. Now, with our developers, you can get white hair coverage with 6, 9, and 12%. And I know that might be quite different to what you're used to with previous brands, but this is how it works. So if you are on a base 8 and you want to get to a 9, the reason why we say 1 to 2 levels of lift is because depending on the hair diameter. So if the hair is quite fine, the 6% will give you possibly 2 levels of lift, whereas on thicker, coarser hair, because there's more cuticle and more hair, more pigments to go through, it's 1 level. So we talk a lot about having, thinking about the texture of the hair, what's the diameter of the hair, how does that affect what we're doing, as well as all the undercoats and the levels of lift as well. So yeah, we talk about that a lot. Next one is 9%, so you can still get white hair coverage. So I'll do some case studies with you. So I'm gonna write them down so I know. So you are a base 7. Okay, you've got 40% white hair, we'll say 40% white hair. So base 7, natural base 7, 40% white hair, and our objective is to get you to a 931, so a 9GA, golden ash. Okay, so we know that we're gonna go up 2 levels of lift. So what is her diameter? So let's say she's got fine hair, no previous color. Okay, so she's got base 7, 40% white hair. We want a target tone is a 931, 9GA, and she's got fine hair. So we're gonna use a 9. Because she's got 40% white hair, I am going to put in some N in there. So we're going to use 9N, and we're going to use, let's just go with 931 for the sake of this. We won't go too in depth with it. So we, how the mixing ratio you would use for your N's versus adding into this fashion color, she's 40%. What I would do is use 40% of your mixture being an N. So it's really easy to work out. If she's 50% white hair, I would use 50% of your mixture being an N. Anything above 50%, just do half and half. So anything below that, so if she is 10% white hair, I wouldn't really say you need to put an N in, but if you wanted to, if it was more stubborn hair, you could put 10% of your mixture being an N. I hope that helps to kind of like work out it does, but from 50% upwards, go half and half. That's the easiest way to do it. But think about your developer. So don't always go for 6%. What we need to do, we need to get the hair from a base 7 up to a base 9. So we need 2 levels of lift. So to be able to get the non-white hair to be at a level 9, we need to up our volume of peroxide. So we need to be using 9% here to be able to get us up. So if we just use 6%, what would happen is the white hair would cover to a 9, but the natural hair would only be a 7 to an 8. And what you're going to find is you're going to get sort of translucent, inconsistent results, because the tube of tint will cover the hair, will add the tone into the hair. So you could use 12% and it would still work. So you would need to make the hair lighter than its natural. So it's a 7 now, we need to go to a 9. So we need to use the peroxide to be able to get us up to the 9. The tube of tint will cover to an 8. Will cover that white hair to an 8, sorry, to a 9. It will cover that white hair to a 9. So whatever's inside the tube of tint, it will cover the hair. You need to get the natural hair up to that level 9. I hope that makes sense. I hope. If you've got any questions, pop them into the Q&A, and I keep checking it to make sure that no one's got any questions. So 12%. I don't know if you've if 12% scares you, but it shouldn't. It's all about getting the levels of lift. So if she was sitting on a base 6 and wanted to get up to a 9, we'd use 12%. I absolutely love 12%. It just gives the hair more pop. It just gives that beautiful coverage. We did, I was over in Copenhagen a couple of weeks ago, and we had a model that was in that was 80% white hair, but her natural, just the small amounts of dark that was going through it, we needed to lift that up, otherwise we'd have had inconsistent results. And we used 12% on our hair for this white hair coverage, and it was absolutely stunning. It really was. And we actually did use 3 different bowls of color, and I'm going to show you. This was her before. Oh, I hate it when it doesn't show you. This was her before. So you can see like she was really, really white. I hope you can see that. And then this was her after, and it was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. We got all of that beautiful tone into the hair. So we wanted that champagne blonde. We lifted those small bits of white, of darker hair through them, and we used 12% with it, and it was absolutely stunning. So never sort of like go, oh, 12% on the scalp. I have 12% on the scalp. Don't forget, we've got all those naturally derived ingredients in the hair. It's paraben free, it's ammonia free, it's, so you're only adding in that fuel to lift the hair. That's all you're doing with your developer choice. Then moving on to our other products, we've got barrier cream, which is great for if you've got clients that are a little bit older, should we say, and the moment you touch their hairline with a little bit of color, it just sucks it up. This is really great. It doesn't put any barrier onto the hair. So if you've got a client that does have that kind of skin that sucks up the color, you can put that right into the hairline and it will not stop the color from taking. What it will do is the client will be able to go out and not have like a dark ring around her hairline. It is really a beautiful thing to do because you're protecting this client's skin, so they look great, because nobody wants to walk out with a tidal mark around their hair, but you're not sort of putting any barrier onto the hair. So I would definitely try that. If you've started using our colour, this would have come in your opening package. So I would recommend that you give that a go. Clients love it. They kind of think that it's almost more of a premium service having this done as well. So I'd give it a go. Next one, porosity equalizer spray. Now, this is your guarantee. This will make such a big difference to your colour work. So if you are taking any colour through, you've got all different things that have gone on here. They've got different porosities that are going on. Maybe they've been on holiday. Maybe they've been a little bit darker and you've coloured them back to light or whatever that is. There's a story, there's some history going through the hair. What the porosity equalizer spray does is guarantees your work. So you mist this onto the hair when the hair is dry. It just literally dries into the hair. It's not like you don't wet it down, just like a fine mist. And what will happen is that packs into the hair, equals out the porosity. So you're going to get no hot spots down there, and it's going to give you that beautiful tone from mids to ends that's all the same color. So you can use this with liquid demi-permanents. You can use this with our permanent as well. And it just really helps to even out the porosity. Then we recommend that you use our Colour Lock spray. So when you finish your colour service, you've shampooed the hair and you'll shampoo that sort of twice, whatever you need to do. So your first one is your emulsification of the colour, removing it all from around the hairline. And you'll notice that our colour slightly gives that kind of like foamy consistency. It really emulsifies up really well. Rinse all of that out. Your second colour, your second shampoo is your shampoo of choice. So whether that is I Want Body shampoo because you want to put more volume in there, you can use whatever shampoo you want to use from there. All of the 11 Australia colours are shampoos are colour safe. But we don't recommend using a conditioner. So we use the Colour Lock spray instead of a conditioner. What the Colour Lock spray, it has a really low pH. So it's locking down the cuticle. Its pH is 4.5 to 5.5. So well below the sort of neutral point. And what that does, it helps to lock down the cuticle and lock all of that colour work into the hair. We know that the hair can be the colour molecules can be quite fragile after having a hair colour, and they don't harden off for 48 hours. That's why we don't recommend clients to shampoo the hair until after 48 hours of having the colour done, because we don't want those molecules to start slipping out of the hair. What the Colour Lock does is actually helps to lock all of that in. So if you think about putting a conditioner on the hair, what it's doing, it's going slightly into the cuticles, and it could be interfering with the colour molecules that you've just placed in there. By using the Colour Lock spray, that just locks everything down, really tightly closes those cuticle layers and helps with the longevity of your colour. Now, I have had a few salons that say, oh, but my client likes a scalp massage. You can absolutely do that. So when you've done your 2 shampoos, you do your light mist of your Colour Lock spray, then you can do your scalp massage and do everything that you would normally do. This is not a rinse out. So you just leave it on the hair. So once it's done, that's it. So no need to rinse off. You've done your scalp massage. You then sit your client up and carry on with the rest of the service. So that's a real big thing for us. It will make such a difference to the colour longevity. Okay, right, I'm going to talk just a little bit about ingredients. So I keep referring to these naturally derived ingredients, but I've not sort of told you what they are yet. So our colours have, all right, I'm being really rubbish today. Our colours have beautifully naturally derived ingredients. So we have, first of all, we have our sunflower oil. So our sunflower oil is, don't think that it would make, it's not going to put an oil on the outside of the hair or anything like that. It just gives the most beautiful shine to the hair. So first of all, we've got our sunflower oil. Then we've also got our hydrolyzed pea protein. So I talked about we don't have a wheat in there. We only have a pea protein. Pea proteins are a lot newer in technology than wheat proteins. Also helps us to be gluten-free. But the pea protein is a lot smaller in its molecular weight, and it can travel further into the hair. So it's much better for its strengthening properties. Then we've got our hydrolyzed quinoa. So think about that being that superfood. It will really help with color retention. It puts like a scaffold around the hair and helps to keep it really nice and strong. We have another ingredient called alpha-bisabol, which I hope I say that right. Alpha-bisabol, which is a calamine oil. So if you think about when you've done, if you've been had chicken pox as a child, you put calamine oil to soothe the scalp. That's exactly what it does. So it helps with the client comfort. So you're if you've got one of your clients that tends to be a little bit irritated by color, perhaps, this will really help to sort of, they'll find it a lot more comfortable whilst they're having their color done. So that's that one. All of them are gluten-free, vegan, and everything else that we talked about. So recapping on those, your pea protein does the moisture, strength and repairing. Your next one's the hydrolyzed quinoa, helps with shine, helps with color retention, and shields the hair. So putting that scaffolding, like I said, around the hair. Then the organic sunflower oil, really moisturizing. This is what gives the hair the most incredible shine. Helps with the when we're preventing the sun damage, with the UVA, UVB protection within there as well. The alpha bisabol, which is the calamine oil, so nice for the scalp. Okay, right. That is your kind of whistle-stop tour of that so far. Has anybody got any questions or anything you would like me to go over in more detail with you? Let you just wait for a second. So recapping on the peroxides, you can get white hair coverage with 6, 9 and 12%. Your 3% you cannot get white hair coverage for, and that is for when you are just adding tone into the hair or going darker. One of my recommendations when you first swap over to a new colour brand is you've got existing colour from mid-lengths and ends of like a different brand's colour. So when you're trying to, for your first application, we always recommend that you use the choice of 11 Australia here, but on your mid-lengths and ends, take your permanent colour through for the first time using 3, 6, 9 or 12%, whatever you need to do because of the lift. But what that will do is just help with the blending, because all brands have different tones, different makeups. So what you might find is, like if you did a copper here, our coppers are really like an orange copper, whereas the mid-lengths and ends might be with a different brand, and that could be a more of a red copper. So you're not going to get that kind of consistent result. So just for your first time only, on your first application of your clients, make sure that you do your 11 Australia on your regrowth application, and then take through with your permanent colour. We don't recommend taking through with permanent colour every time, because you can build up colour molecules and you can make that look quite dark. We recommend using a demi-permanent for that. But for your first application, we always do recommend that. That's a good one, and you're going to get a nice seamless blend going through the hair. Your high lifts, we talked about not to intermix with those, but you can use either 30 or 40 vol, 9 or 12%. Your mixing ratios is 1 to 2. And try those if you've not used them before. You will really enjoy them, especially like for seamless foils. We're doing a lot of seamless foils where we're doing really, really fine sectioning, almost like a baby light, and we're doing one with a light now and one with a high lift, so it gets a really nice grow out through there. And then the only thing that we haven't talked about is the skin testing. So manufacturer's instructions are that you skin test every client in the crook of the elbow, a tiny, tiny pea-sized dot, just a little dot onto there. You leave that on the skin for 45 minutes. And then you remove that, and then if you don't have any reactions within the 48 hours, you are fine to colour the hair. Now, I know everybody has different insurances, so if you follow your own sort of schedule and your questioning, then speak to your insurers about your own protocol that you've got in there, but they will ask you what the manufacturer's instructions are, and then they will underwrite their own protocol within there. So that's the manufacturer's instructions. I hope that helps. if there is no questions, I can let you get on with the rest of your day. There is? No? Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Take care. And if you've got any questions, reach out to us. If you are an 11 Australia account, we've got the 11 Australia Collective on Facebook. So you can go on there and ask some questions. Don't forget you've got Digi that you can talk to as well. So oh, thank you. So you've got Digi on there as well. So, and we've got our new 11 Australia education coming out in January, which I'm really, really excited about. We've got a master's program that's coming, and we've got some new cutting and new styling as well. So watch out for all of those. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Take care. Bye.